Greetings and salutations, everyone. The James Gunn controversy isn't going away anytime soon, so it's about time we talk about it. Now, if my voice sounds a bit weirder than normal, it's because I have a cold. And it sucks. So, let's begin where this all started, with his firing. Now, it might be a bit more complicated than one might think it would be, as most people just talk about the 10,000 pedophile jokes he made, and various other inappropriate tweets that most regard as either sick, disturbing, or just outright inappropriate. But it goes a bit deeper than that. There are numerous other aspects to this incident that are less often talked about, such as an open secret, a group dedicated to exposing Hollywood pedophiles has put their sights on Gunn. Now, this group exposed Singer for his pedophilia, and Fox attempted to defend Singer for years, as even going to the point where they were even trying to blackmail and threaten Open Secret, to the point where they just released the email showing that Fox was indeed threatening them. Did not work out very well for Fox. Adding to that, we have decades of actresses coming forward, like Marilyn Monroe, talking about how directors, producers proposition them from sex, even when they're as young as 16, 15, and if they don't put out, they lose out the role. All these events, they create like this atmosphere where you can't really condemn or convict Gunn on it, but it's enough to warrant an investigation, which is where I kind of stand on the issue. That he should be given his fair chance to defend himself against these allegations, that an investigation should be conducted in order to see if we can clear his name. I believe that is entirely fair. Do I honestly believe that his name is going to be clearable? No. James Gunn is connected to a known pedophile known as John Podesta, who was infamously exposed for running a child sex operation, and honestly, it's pretty amazing he is not behind bars for this at this point. But the conversation about why he's not been convicted is a very long and tinfoil hat riddled discussion, which is not the point of this video. But the fact that he has connections to this man definitely raises a lot of eyebrows. So, honestly, stranger things could happen, There have been people who look guilty as sin. No way they're going to beat these charges and then turn out to be completely innocent. And I think, honestly, we should deserve to give Gunn the benefit of the doubt. Moving on, though. Now you have Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney. He wants to retire from running Disney, but he can't find a replacement. But not only does he want to retire, he wants to go into politics when he's done. Now, unfortunately for him, the current streak of political controversy threatens his political ambitions. From Star Wars' increasingly dead-in-the-water appearance and Kennedy being fired over a political ham-fisting, all the way to Pixar's reputation taking a nosedive over accusations of constant political ham-fisting into their animated movies, which they all but confirmed with Fembuster tier Incredibles 2. You could argue all this is merely small, insignificant events, but Iger's political rivals will use this against him when he runs, and Iger is smart enough to know that. And Iger is not one to stand idly by while this problem continues to fester. During the Kathleen Kennedy call that came after the failure of The Incredibles 2, every studio head was present, and Iger was very clear about knocking off the political bullshit, about how that political bullshit was the same reason that Star Wars was failing and that how Kennedy was fired. So what does James Gunn decide to do? He decides to continue to spew his anti-Trump political bullshit. And let me say this, I don't care if you like Trump or don't like Trump, that's not important. When your boss tells you no more politics or you're fired, then you continue to endlessly go about politics and then bring a pedophile accusation against you and the company, you're fired. It's just that simple. You are fired. And look, Disney is not going to rehire James Gunn. No matter how much the Hypocrite Brigade now whines while calling out the very outrage culture and mob mentality they use to get countless people fired, that they use to harass corporations, to bow to the political ideology. These are the same people that got a developer fired on Subnautica for being a Trump supporter. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't say anything inappropriate. He supported Trump, so he had to get fired. And now these people are coming out of the woodworks. All the YouTubers, all the celebrities, and they're saying, oh, this outrage culture is horrible. This mob mentality is bad. We got to rise above this. All because now their side has to hold to the same standard. Why won't Disney bring Gunn back, though? Here's a few reasons. First and foremost, consider how much Gunn has grossed for Disney. Using the 60-40 principle, which simply states that a domestic market, movies make about 60% from the theaters, while in foreign markets receive way less. China, for instance, has a system where in some instances they don't receive any gross, as the companies just buy the distribution rights in China, because you cannot distribute in China by yourself. You have to work with the Chinese distribution company. And then after they buy the distribution rights, they don't have to pay a single cent. So if you want to gather what the gross is, you typically use the 60-40 principle. Look at the two movies Gunn has made. They have grossed about $4.3 million, while Infinity War grossed about $1 billion. Now, ask yourself, truthfully, would you put up with a PR nightmare that will be levied against every one of your franchises by your critics and the mob for one director who has two movies that not even made you half of what one of your mainline franchise has grossed for you? You'd have to be a fool to do so. Then, on top of this, there's the Disney-Fox merger, which has been in the headlines, which needs the U.S. government to sign off in order to happen. And one of the people involved in this is buddy-buddy with the president, who has begun waging a war against pedophilia and child sex rings, which actually resulted in the hilarious protesting by leftists against child molesters being arrested because they thought it was an ICE deportation. Yeah, get your agenda straight. Disney isn't going to risk their merger that is going to get them Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and numerous other franchises in this political climate. They're not going to risk Trump's friend saying, no, I'm not going to merge with you over a director. It's too dangerous. They're not going to risk the president saying, no, this merger can't go through. That's not going to happen. And the funny part is, this all would have been not even mattered. He could have just been fired, gone quiet, did the whole I made mistakes, went to rehab therapy routine, made some claim maybe he was on drugs, but then he's all better and he realizes the error of all of his ways. But the hypocritical douchebags, that wasn't good enough for them. That was not good enough for them. Now they had to go and make him into an unhireable pariah. Gunn is now bigger than life. He is this icon that is now greatly associated with pedophilia jokes, with what is wrong with Hollywood. And this didn't come from the people that accused him of this stuff. No. This came from the people defending him. The outrage culture is often very shortly lived. You just have to wait it out. That is the power you have. Eventually, it will move on to the next hip thing to be outraged about. Except that wasn't good enough. They had to keep pushing this and pushing this. So, Disney has to choose now between the two mobs. Do they choose the 2/3 that believes he's a creep and hate pedophilia, or do they choose the 1/3 who are going to go see the movies anyway? Like, there's no way the people defending Gunn are not going to go watch a Black Panther movie. As much hype as they gave to Black Panther, the idea that they're going to boycott a Black Panther movie and risk being called racist is insane. Not going to happen. And that petition that the actor so gleefully signed sealed his fate. Amongst all this controversy, you have two mobs, like I said, two mobs. And Iger's going to be brain dead to choose the one that's going to risk every franchise Disney has, their merger with Fox, and his future political career to bring one director back who hasn't even made him that much money. Gunn can be replaced with anyone else that has great talent. He is not irreplaceable. that's just how it is. So he isn't coming back, and I think people really need to accept this and accept the fact that he's not coming back, not just because of the controversy that swirled around him, but because of how everyone acted as if his firing was just so unacceptable. That is what sealed his fate. Not the jokes, not the mob culture. It's actually kind of funny. The counter mob culture is what did him in. And as always, I'll see you next time. Just as we'll see the hypocrite grade again out in force the next time there is a moral panic, a moral outrage at someone that disagrees with their political views. So as always, peace out.